A lively buzz in the streets surrounding Auckland Uni, but empty seats remain in lecture theatres, with a growing number of students being forced to skip class in favour of work. It's all to keep up with the rising cost of living, in particular rent.
Yeah, I know a lot of girls that go to uni that have to provide for their families as well, and they have to skip school and stuff like that to be able to have food and dinner on the table and stuff like that, which is real sad.
Really, there is a problem, especially faced with us students. There are costs that we tend to struggle with, and with the cost of living going up, it's not getting any easier.
Yeah, I've had to pick up a lot more work, but then also trying to balance that with studying and everything. It's a lot.
Over the past few years, there's been a steady increase in rental prices nationwide, including in key education hubs like Auckland, Hamilton, Wellington and Christchurch. It's seeing more students each week seek help in the form of hardship grants to make ends meet.
There are all sorts of different pressures on students nowadays, and you're having to work full-time and go to classes, or sometimes you're having to choose, okay, I'm going to pick up an extra shift this week because I need an extra bit of cash. I'm going to skip that class. And again, if you skip that class, you fall into the rabbit hole of having to catch up and catch up and catch up.
The student loan for living costs and student allowance rose by $20 last month. It follows a $25 weekly increase in budget 2022. But not only is it not available to the majority of students, but the extra cash often ends up lining the pockets of landlords instead.
Another real issue that we see is that a range of what, for lack of a better term, we would call mega landlords in a few of our tertiary education areas around the country operate in such a way that they increase rents in anticipation of student allowance going up, which feels, I think, to many grossly unfair, because that's not happening as a result of any special innovation or work that those landlords may have done, but simply because they know that students may have more money in their back pocket.
On average, those living in a shared flat spend 56% of their weekly income on rent, while 2/3 of students regularly do not have enough money to buy food, clothing, pay bills, get healthcare or other basics. A recent inquiry looking into the mismatch between student income and the cost of living found the gap was causing significant anxiety and distress for many. Aspects of the student allowance policy were also considered unfair, in particular parent and partner income testing.
The main issue with that is the presumption that parents are going to be in a position to financially support what are effectively their adult children undertaking tertiary study. And as I think many of us find, that just isn't the reality.
I mean, I would love to see a universal student allowance for all students, because I think being a student is so different, and I think we need to recognise that on the government level as well. But also, if we're not going to move towards that, I'd like to see the eligibility criteria, potentially loosened up a little bit. I think it hasn't changed from 20 to 25 years ago, so I think we need to really look at that as well.
The hefty price tag associated with lifting the lid on these issues could mean it's a while yet before they're properly addressed. And with a growing number of students feeling unsupported now more than ever, it's hoped in the meantime the appeal of tertiary study isn't lost for good. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. To stay up to date with all the latest news from the New Zealand Herald, click the subscribe button below or check out one of the videos here, and head over to nzherald.co.nz for more details on these stories and more.